Hello again and welcome to another Mordian Glory video. But it's not just me. It is the man, the myth, the salt, Admiral Simon! Fast becoming the favourite of the channel. Well, I don't even know why I'm here anymore. I don't even know why I'm here. Like, everyone's like, we want more Simon. Bring Simon on the channel. Ugh. Well, ask... nah, man. Ask and you shall receive. So we are doing what is fast becoming a regular and favorite episode on the channel, which is the duo, the salty collab, the Saltcast. I think is the name that got
Saltcast.
that got not podcast, the Saltcast. I think that's the name that got settled on. So we're doing another Saltcast episode. Simon, my partner in crime here. And I will be having a bit of a chit and dare I say chat about some things in Warhammer 40k and tabletop in general. And often we do these in the frame or analysing a little bit of a battle that we've recently had or a battle that one of us has had. Like, so, you know, last week you took on Mordaka and then it got nerfed. And then this week we're going to be talking about a game that we actually had together. And it was your Awakened Dynasty Necrons versus my, I would call it Index Combined Guard. There was very little Codex stuff featured in that list.
There wasn't much game in it, to be honest. It was more like a whitewash, I think. Is
How the tables have turned. So, of course, if you haven't seen that video yet, we'll make sure there's a link to it down in the description below. And, of course, if you want to avoid spoilers, then, you know, obviously put a bucket on your head and bang it. Or leave the video, to be honest, because it's probably...
that seems a bit easy, to be fair.
So Simon and I had a game, 2,000 points. It was a live stream battle report, but it only took about 4 hours, so not even that much longer than our normal battle reports, to be honest. And the last few weeks... In terms of 40k, Simon has been on a bit of a streak. He beat me with Nids. You beat Mark with Guard. You beat me. You beat me the time before that as well. And it's just been a bit of a Simon streak. But yesterday, that streak came to a rather sudden and abrupt halt when I ran what could very aptly be described as so last year of a list. Where I stopped trying all sorts of new things. And I ran infantry and tanks in combined arms. And it was just wildly different to what's happened over the last few times. And you were running Necrons, an army which you're eminently familiar with, and you're running Awakened Dynasty, a detachment which, if not your favorite, one you are familiar with. You know, you ran it pretty much all through the Index, and you've run it a few times on the channel as well. And it was a bit of a smashing. I think the game ended 83-51. So I always say if you get more than 50 points in a game, you went down swinging. So you did. But it was a little bit of a battering with only a couple of Necron models left on the board. So, Simon, take us through hot takes, first impressions, however, you know, speak for as long as you need to speak. What was your perspective on that game? And I would say try and compare it between the last couple of games when I've been running different stuff and not combined arms, like Siege, for example, than what it was like basically facing off against Old Guard.
I mean, it's just 80 bodies and 5 tanks. I mean, it's combined arms. It does. I don't think he's going to win any super majors or anything like that. But actually, it's a really, really solid list. It really is. And I think, you know, I said that yesterday. I think it's a tough matchup into Awakened Dynasty because, you know, I think I struggle with Awakened Dynasty, so, you know, there'll be better players than me that can get a much better tune out of it than me. But for a detachment that, in theory, wants to be sticky, and it goes into that shit storm of shooting, and it doesn't go well.
Yeah.
And I think that's and I said this about countless times when we played it as an index. It's got a boatload of OC and it's got a boatload of shooting.
Yeah.
And what more can that's two very solid structures, pillars of a solid list.
You're talking about combined arms.
Yeah, combined
Yeah.
arms. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's. I said it at the end of the battle report, but I will say it again now. I had almost. Well, actually, I had not almost. I had forgotten how shooty and how killy guard can be, because I essentially, apart from one time, and then I didn't really get to benefit from lethal hits. I haven't come because it's just the nature of the list I was running and what I ended up shooting into. But I basically haven't run a proper combined arms list this year. And so when you've been for nearly 4 months now, quite consistently running recon, siege, hammer, you tried mechanized. When I've been running all of these armies, all of these detachments which don't have lethals, you really do feel how weak guard shooting can be. And just in summary, lethals, hell of a drug. Hell of a drug. I've been all around the houses, and I think honestly, I'm sticking with combined arms, and hammer. That's all I'm interested in going forward. The rest of even my beloved recon, Simon, my beloved recon. I'm just like, I think I'll just shoot to death. That's easier.
I still think you can get. When you played the artillery, the siege detachment, you weren't playing with 20-man blobs, and I just 20-man blob of infantry, 2 melters, 2 plasmas. For what? How many points is it? 130? 100. Come on, whatever detachment you put that in. I mean, it punches harder into in combined, but it's still. You look at that, right, and this is where I got back to 120 for a 20-man guard squad, or 200 for 20 warriors, which only really work if you then go out and spend another 100 points on characters.
Yeah.
Which would I think we said this. I can't remember it was on camera, but the Oricon blob was 385 points. I think it was that we worked it out to, or you could have 60 guards. What would you rather go with?
So I do think that's a good point, but I think there's a very, very solid reason why I think it works better in combined over siege, and I think the reason is, and I know I'm not the only one who's been having this issue with guard, but I've been struggling to really get everything I want in a list. Guard points have been consistently going up in the last update or so. Catachan squad's going from 55 to 65. Orgrin's going up. Rogel Dawn, like tank commanders are quite expensive. Tank commanders have got extra orders now, but they have gone up in points. And pardon me. And I think I've been really struggling to get all the infantry that I want, and I have found something that 80 infantry isn't enough. And the number one key thing in my battle plan yesterday, when I was building the list, when I was thinking about the list the night before, and I was building the list in the morning, was I need 100 bodies. I need reinforcements. If there's one stratagem I use almost as early as possible, it's going to be reinforcements. And that got me to 100 bodies, 100 battle line bodies. To me personally, that was the key difference. Because in Siege, if I took that exact same list, put it into Siege, then I don't have as many bodies. So I can't. So when Big Nigel was rampaging down south, I can't basically corral him into a bunch of guardsmen and keep my tanks safe. Nigel only got 1 tank the whole game. And
yeah.
And then the other thing is, and I'll happily feed Nigel a blob of guardsmen a turn. I need five blobs of guardsmen really to do that. I mean, obviously, you didn't get quite 5, but you know, my point is I can lose a blob of guardsmen every turn, but if I've only got 4 blobs, then by turn 5, I'm going to run out. And it meant that you couldn't just ignore that objective down there because you swept all the guardsmen away. 20 more guardsmen turned up, that bottom left objective suddenly, fucking hell, I've got to start killing them again. So I think reinforcements is so key. I think you need 100 bodies, but the problem is, if I try and get 100 bodies in any other list, I can't afford to do that. Not and have the tanks.
Run. Just take out one of those fobs.
Oh, Bobs, man.
Well, that's it. That's you. So 120 for the guards, 110 for a fob.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't have 10 points though. Find the extra points. I don't have it. I don't have it. I'm on bang on 2,000 on the nose, and because this is goddamn 10th edition, I can't just like drop a heavy bolter somewhere and get the 10 points that I need.
So what did you have? 2 tank commanders.
2 tank commanders, 1 with Grand Strategist.
Yeah.
I had 3 Vanquishers.
Yeah.
2 Fobs. 4 Blobs Acadians. 1 Blob of Kazakin. A Scout Sentinel Commissar. Castellan Creed and a Command Squad.
Right.
I'm running right at the. I'm right at the goddamn bone already.
See,
I ain't got room.
I'd be losing the fob, putting another blob in and losing Grand Strategist, to be honest.
Can't lose Grand Strategist. Need tank orders. Need them. Cannot. Because here's the big thing. Here's the big thing. The stratagem, I think it's called like combined command.
Yeah.
If you that lets you do orders, that lets infantry officers do orders on vehicles and vehicle officers do orders on infantry. I think that's a trap, personally, because you want you want your CP for other stuff. You really want. That's an insurance strategy. If you lose both your tank commanders and you're like, God damn it, I need to still order these Vanks. Well, I've got a tool in the toolbox. That's what it is.
Or take out two fobs, take another infantry squad and put some mortars in.
Yeah, I'm thinking artillery teams.
Yeah,
with the heavy mortar.
I don't. Yeah, artillery team would work. Yeah, what's that? 95 points.
Yeah, I suppose I could drop a fob and then go to an artillery team and then take an extra blob.
Yeah, drop 2 fobs, put an artillery team and take an extra blob. That's what I do all day, every day.
Mm.
And then you go 120 infantry. And then it's even more horrific to play against.
Would you do that in combined arms or in siege? Or both?
Combined arms. Working either, to be fair. I'm just saying, right? Talking about the game, I gave those fobs far too much credit. You know, I'm
terrible.
I'm sat there going, you absolute prat now, because I'm sort of sat there going, yeah, Imhotep, he's got.
The thing is,
Chorp save 6 wounds. Are you going to get 6 wounds in a single? No.
Not on a 2-up.
No. So actually, I didn't need to sit all that crap on the.
Well, here's the thing. You didn't need to until you needed to, because all it would have taken is 1 decent burst. And I only got 1 decent burst the entire game. But if you had nothing on your home objective apart from Imhotep, and then turn 1, my fobs just go ape and just blast him, and you roll like typical Simon and roll 3 ones. Okay, Simon, here's 3 2 power saves, rolls triple 1, CPU rolls another 1. Like, that would happen to you. I know it, you know it, the viewers know it. They know that would happen.
In theory, you need to get 18 wounds through to kill him in a single round of shooting, because I'm going to save. Right, and then you got a re-roll. So 18 wounds you've got. So I can't even think about doing the maths now. But in theory, I was far too paranoid about that. I could have put him on there. Yes, you know, you could get horrifically unlucky, but actually, instead of having almost 300 points sat on that home objective, I'd have had 100. and I would have deployed my other bits and pieces differently.
Hmm.
So
Lesson learned.
yeah, so definitely I drop 2 of those, put an artillery team in, and take an extra blob, without a doubt.
I think it's interesting. I am quite strongly starting to lean towards. I'm going to try artillery teams with heavy mortars. Now they're very similar to FOBs. They fire. They're still AP -1, and they're still damage 2. The big difference, though, and the reason why there's three key differences of why I'm considering artillery teams now. The first one is their strength 8, so I can wound you on 2s a lot of the time rather than 3s.
Yeah.
Second one is that they're D6 plus 3 shots. So even though they don't, in theory, spike as much as the FOBs, the reliability on average is a bit more there. They still have blast as well. And 3, they're 15 points cheaper. So it's like I've got a more reliable weapon but cheaper.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'm very, very, very tempted by the siege gun. Because yeah, it's only D6 shots, but it's basically a Rogue Dawn oppressor cannon without the reliability. I'm not thinking one of them. I'm thinking two of them. And the reports from the front lines from other people that have used them have said that fairly reliably they get one damage through each time. And I'm thinking, well, if I've got 2 of those and each one on average is getting 3 damage through, that's a dead Imhotep. That's actually doing more.
Yeah. I think the other thing is it's just something to set on your home objective. I mean, it's slightly overthinking it. It's what you're going to put on your home objective. You've got something there that can do a bit of damage, which is far better than what most people put on the home objective.
Yeah. It could even,
there's not much that you can stick on your home objective that any faction's got that is less than 100 points, that is T7, 10 wounds with a 3-up save. That's not going to get shifted.
Yeah, that's pretty much counter battery proof.
But for 95 points, I thought that when it first came out, that when people were quite negative, and I thought the size of that base, that sits on your home objective, 95 points, every, bosh, done.
Yeah.
And then...
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because not many people have got indirect fire anymore, have they?
Well, it's not even that. It's what? If you're a Space Marine player, you're going to put 5 infiltrators down normally. The infiltrators, whatever they are, give you your 12-inch deep strike. I was going to put 100 points down of Imhotep down to give me an extra CP.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, honestly, yeah. So one of those, another squad of guardsmen is a no-brainer.
I do think you need the 2 artillery pieces. I've always said, I don't know, man. I just think because 1 does nothing ever. I feel like 1 is none.
But it's not there to do. It's
You want something that's going to be set on your objective below, not take Slime Arvo, 65 points.
Yeah, that's. Or you've got 30 points that's going to do a bit of something.
Yeah. 30 points is a lot in the guard, man.
Well, it's a lot in every list, but I'm just. It's going to screen out better than Marbo. That's the thing I was thinking yesterday when I was sort of wondering to deploy. Is it one single base does not screen out much, whereas that.
Yeah, to be fair, again, if it's going back to that game and going back to combined arms and going back to reinforcements, you say you overestimated the FOB. Well, if you had pushed forward with everything but Imhotep, then you can't stop the 20 guardsmen from coming in your back lines. And then I'm pretty certain that if 2 FOBs can't do it, 2 FOBs plus 20 guardsmen will quite happily take Imhotep off the back objective. So you actually, even if you overestimated the FOBs, you had to do what you did because the reinforcements would. I mean, the moment I see Imhotep sat there on his own, I'm going after your home objective.
Yeah.
The moment. I don't think you made a mistake in any way, shape, or form. I think the beauty of combined arms is that it forces your opponent to do stuff they don't want to do. They don't, like you said, people want to sit one low knock character on the objective. Fine, do that. I'll stick 20 guards on there, and even if they come on and don't kill you, they're going to come on. If your whole army's gone that way, you've got not enough that can come back and save your ass. Imhotep's not going to stop 20 guardsmen. He might kill a few, he's not going to stop all of them. Even if it's not Imhotep, it's bloody lone op lieutenant, whatever it is. And then I'm going to walk onto your objective with 40 OC, and eventually I'm probably going to kill you.
Yeah.
Probably kill you in the first go, to be fair, because 2 melter guns and 2 plasma guns and a whole buttload of las guns with lethal hits.
Yeah.
Because you can't just, it's not like if I bring, this is what I've been finding, I've been bringing reinforcements on, not stratagem reinforcements, I mean like strategic reinforcements. I've been bringing like strategic reserves on in other games, and they've been like wandering on and doing nothing. Like, oh, it's like, honestly, Simon, I felt for the first time yesterday, I cannot express. It was like once I was blind, now I see. It's like the scales fell from my eyes. It was like the chains finally came off, and I was just like, I can kill stuff. In the last few games we've played, I've said to you like on like camera, I've been like, okay, so my goal would be if I can kill this, this, and this, then that would put me in the position that I want to be in. And then I've done all the shoots, set myself up, done all my shooting, and killed like one of the 3 things that I aimed for. And I was like, oh, I've not been aiming for like 3 big things, just 3 normal things, or even like a shit one. I'm like, oh, I didn't kill what I should have killed. Oh man, my game plan's completely off now. In the game yesterday, I did that. I went, I'm going to kill this and this. And then I killed all 3 things that I wanted to kill. Anything that I decided needed to die, died.
Yeah.
In previous games, with previous attachments, that's not been possible. I'm just telling you, I'm combined arms. I've been really negative on 40k recently. I think a big part of it is that I've been really worried that the Guard Codex has been a bag of shit. And it turns out that the Guard Codex itself is kind of a bag of shit. But combined arms is still good. It's still good. And so I'm basically back to Index Guard at this point.
No, just because you can't just delete everything you want first time doesn't mean it's a bag of shit. You got spoiled
Simon,
with Index Guard. Being able to delete anything you wanted, and also just infinite amounts of troops. I mean,
I don't think we're playing the same game. 40k is about deleting your opponent's army and or dreams. And
yeah, but not. Yeah, well, yeah, but then I've probably spent far too much time playing Necrons and Grey Knights this edition, neither of which particularly delete stuff.
Until our shatter.
Yeah.
Our shatter shatters things.
Yeah.
Couple of questions. So.
Yeah. Right.
Combined arms or Hammer of the Emperor?
For me, I think my detachment, I think, is gonna be Hammer of the Empire Met Guard.
Okay.
I think it's really good.
Give us some more deets on that. Why would you prefer Hammer over Combined?
Well, I think just the movement is better. So basically, if you're running Combined, I think you're losing as Mech Guard. You're losing half the rule because you've not really got any infantry worth a damn.
Okay.
So you've got lethal hits on 50 boys that you're not going to get out of your transport till turn 3, but things are going well. So great. So yeah, you've got lethal hits with vehicles against vehicles, right? Yeah, don't get me wrong, very, very good. Right, fully on board with that, especially with all. But I'd rather take the auto advance 6. I can crash through, I can fall back and shoot, I can buff damage, I can reduce damage. So actually, for a list that is primarily about driving various types of tank around the board, then Hammer is a better fit.
I guess that makes sense because you're looking at this through the lens of Met Guard.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of, what's going through my mind is you could take Combined and then put heavy flamers on your chimeras. Then your tanks have got big guns for killing enemy tanks. But when you've got heavy flamers, it's kind of weird. I always sort of think of heavy flamers as almost like pseudo, it's totally wrong, but like pseudo lethal hits, because there's no roll to hit, you're just rolling to wound.
Yeah.
So it's almost like anything even if you're hitting like tanks or infantry, 6s, they wound, right? And then you get a whole bunch of other wounds as well. So double heavy flamers, I think, would be I'd go, if I was running Combined Arms Mech, I'd be heavy flamers on my chimeras, and I'd be big guns on my tanks. And then if I was to take that exact list and put it into hammer, I'd probably go heavy bolters on stuff. I think there's an element as well. I think this is a really good point that you brought up. No, I think I bring up a good point. I think you brought up a good point just before. You don't get lethal hits against infantry with your chimeras, and we're definitely entering a more infantry-dominated meta.
Yeah, well,
we're seeing it's not hordes, but like elite infantry style armies like Eldar and Marines are doing so well at the moment.
Yeah,
because Gilliman's just going around telling everyone what to do.
Yeah, but I mean, if you run that list that I ran, and off the top of my head, say you've got 7 hunter killers. No, talking a lie. 10 hunter killer missiles, 2 Vanks.
Hunter killers aren't great until you got 10 of them, then they're fine.
11 hunter killer missiles.
It keeps going up. It keeps going up.
Yeah, you've got 5 on the chimeras, 3 on your Lehman Russes, 2 on your Hellhounds, 1 on your Sentinel. So you've got 11 hunter killers.
Yeah.
I've got 4 las cannons.
Yeah.
I've got 2 Vanks. I've then got all the plasmas on the Executioner. I've then got 5, 10, 14 heavy bolters, or an extra. Now, don't get me wrong. Plus, then everything that's on the Rogel Dawn that I can't even be arsed trying to remember because there's so many.
Yeah.
Plus all. Actually, what would you write? Yes, that's great. If you got lethal, I mean, don't get me wrong. Lethal hits on that's going to be absolutely horrendous.
That's not the point, man. Like it, yeah.
But have you got enough shooting there to delete vehicles that you're fighting against? Yeah, I mean, 95% of the time you're going to win a duel against other vehicles with that list.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd rather have the movement. So if I was running Met Guard, I'd go hammer. And when the book first came out, I was all in on combined arms for mech, and I'm like, you know what? No, played it once. I think that's what I'm gonna push and play.
I think that is a very good point, because you've highlighted the amount of anti-tank you have in your army. And if we sort of have it, because if we remind the viewers, you had, what was it, 2 Vanquishers and a Rogel Dawn and a Hellhound?
It was Dawn Tank Commander, 2 Vanks, a Executioner, Executioner is it the Plasma, 2 Hellhounds, Scout Sentinel.
Shit, man. Yeah. And then 5 Chimeras.
Chimeras.
Right.
And what's it called? Lord Solar.
Yeah. So I think one of the big issues that I've seen, and I know we've talked about this before, so I don't want to labor the point too much, but I think it is, in my opinion, the greatest and most important decision that's being made by Guard players at the moment. And I think a lot of people are being led astray by the false religion. You know what I'm going to say, Simon? The false religion of the cult of the AP boosters. That is, they are spreading misinformation. They are causing Guard players to go astray, and they are doing harm to our community. I'm saying it right now. They're doing harm to our community. If you don't know what I'm talking about, when the Guard Codex first came out, there was a bunch of people both online and on YouTube. We had some content creators doing this, and we had some people talk about on Reddit and stuff, and they were like, Rogel Dawns are really, really good. Rogel Dawns are the best. Love Rogel Dawns. And the reason why they're so good is because the main gun is great, and what you do is, there's loads of factors. I'm simplifying it here. But people were saying, you take all of these different, you take these units that got low AP, like Lemur's battle tanks. You take units like Rogel Dawns, and what you do is you use things like Lemur's exterminators, primarily. Exterminators were the first protocol. Hellhounds started coming along later, and I think they had more. I think they were more right with Hellhounds, but they were still wrong overall. But you take exterminators and then you boost the AP up. And I remember seeing this and being like, "What the hell?" That never worked in the index. It was always something that looks good on paper. And I did videos when the index first came out, being like, exterminators are great. And then I remember doing two Lehman Russ tier lists during the index. In the beginning, I said I put the exterminators at the top dog, and I put the Vanquisher at the bottom. And then after basically 18 months of using the guide index, I put the Vanquisher at the top, and I put the exterminator like fourth. Like, it was quite low down on the list, and people thought I was crazy, man. They thought I was crazy, and I was like, no, like I went, the exterminator's expensive, and it's 180 points to boost something else. It's too big an investment to get a boost out of a unit, which that boost can easily be countered by your opponent for one CP going Arm Contempt. And this was back in the day when Arm Contempt affected the unit for the whole turn. So it really was a problem.
Or smoke.
Yeah, or smoke. Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, no, you need to be bringing units which are bringing their own AP. And so and then Codex came out, everyone started talking about AP boosters again, and I went, well, I've got to try these things. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the meta's shifted in favor of AP boosters. And I tried it for it must have been 3 games. 3 games back to back of trying to get AP boosters to work. And every single game I was like, this is just dog shit. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. This is frankly bad. It is dog shit. It don't work. And then I went back to, I think it was when we did that game with Hammer, when I was running just because these are the units I've got, I had Vanks and Executioners, and I was like, Simon, I think these units would bring their own AP. Now the reason I'm mentioning all of this, and now I lambast the cult of the AP boosters, and I am part of the church of the big AP. Bring the big AP to start with. Now, the reason that I've this big rant and that I'm covering this ground again is in case people haven't heard me talk about this before, because not everyone's going to tune into every video. I know, Simon, not everybody watches every single video we do. I know.
Yeah, I can't understand that.
But the big thing that I'm getting to here, this huge roundabout thing, is I think the reason your Hammer list is really good and why your Hammer list works better in Hammer than it does your mech list works better in Hammer than it does in Combined, is because your Hammer list is bringing big AP.
Yeah,
you've got Banks, you've got Executioners, you've got las cannons, you've got 3 las cannons in there as well, Sentinel and your Lee Russes. You've got plasma cannons, you've got Hunter Killer missiles, and you've got 2 Hellhounds. And don't forget, Hellhounds. They're like, oh, but more Hellhounds are only AP -2. No, they're AP -2 with ignoring cover. Because Torrent, they ignore cover themselves, so it's pseudo AP3. So they make the cut as well. And then you've got 2 Hellhounds, not 1, so you've not got a linchpin. You've got redundancy. You've got 2 Hellhounds. So the one unit that needs AP boosting is getting it, and it's getting it from a cheap source, not fucking Exterminator. Hellhound's cheap. And you've got 2 sources of it, not 1. Because Dude, I see people taking Hammer lists where they've got like 2 Rogal Dawns, 2 battle tanks, 1 Exterminator, and it's like your entire army is based around this 1 AP booster.
Well, I was going to say, if I was playing that and that part up, I'd be going, right, well, I know where all my Vanquishers and Plasma Cannons are going on.
First thing.
Yeah.
First thing, and it's not like it's indirect fire, the Exterminator. It's got to poke its nose out, and the moment it happens, it doesn't matter if it takes your entire army. The moment it pokes its nose out, bang, 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 get rid of Exterminator, because then you basically know you've got it in the bag at that point. All you need to do is then outshoot them, and you're going to outshoot them, because they've got a bunch of bullshit, and you've got big AP.
Yeah, well, the other thing I did when I put that list together was I put the Rogal Dawn tank commander went in as anti-infantry.
Yeah,
that's how I was classing that, and I was looking at infantry. I was looking at infantry targets for that, not tank targets every time.
Would you consider swapping it down to a regular tank commander? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, but when actually they just worked, I had the extra 30 points. So the way the list works, if I'd swapped it down, then I didn't really have anything that I'd want to spend the other 30 points on.
Were you exactly 2000 or 1995?
No,
because I've got some ideas here. Are
you going to say Commissar?
No. Controversially, I'm not going to say Commissar.
Let me just get rid of all the crap that I was playing around with it yesterday, and I'm now at 2,300 points. Get out.
So,
Get out.
I'll tell. What were you on?
Hang on a second. Oh, I had the tech priest in there as well.
You probably wouldn't need him for where we're going, but that's okay.
There we go. That's why I didn't need. I was thinking, hang on a second, if I just random. I had 10 points spare.
Okay, so I'm saying go down to regular commander, save 30 points. 10 points in the bank, you're on 40 points in total.
Yeah.
So you're on 40 points. If you then swapped out one Chimera for one Taurox, which is actually a valid thing to do in Hammer, because Tauroxes can go really fast, and what you do is you put some Catachans in there, so that it can scout and then go really, really fast, and they can get out and they can still flame something.
Yeah.
It's not about you just a straight swap in terms of points. You save another 20 points, that puts you on 60 points. That's another Scout Sentinel with a las cannon.
Yeah.
And then I think, as insane as this may sound, Simon, but this very well may scratch your itch. If you then dropped the Tech Priest,
yeah,
you would. If you don't, so go back to the beginning. So we're not taking the Scout Sentinel now. So we drop the Tank Commander down, save for the 30 points. Got 10 points in the bank, so got 40 points. Drop down to a Taurox, got 60 points. If we then drop another unit, another Chimera down to a Taurox, which is still perfectly what you want in Hammer. You still got 3 Chimeras, you've got 2 Tauroxes with Catachans in now. That saves you another 20 points, so now you're on 80 points. Drop the Tech Priest, and you'll be on 125 points, third Hellhound. And that sounds like a lot of points dropping, but we're not actually dropping things, we're swapping things. So going down that route, the only unit that you actually lose from the list is 1 Tech Priest, and instead you gain a Hellhound.
Yeah.
And I think triple, and some people might say, but the Tauroxes aren't as durable. I think that durability gets made up by the fact that you have got a Hellhound in there. It makes up by the fact you've got a Hellhound in there, and the Hellhound is a 2+ save, and it's a whole extra hull.
Yeah, I mean, you are losing a las cannon. You are losing a hunter killer.
You're not losing either of those things. Because your Rogue or Dawn commander, what's happening is you're gaining a las. You're gaining a las cannon, and you're gaining 2 hunter killer missiles.
Yeah.
And you could and you could go for Plasma Executioner. So then you've got double Plasma Executioner, 1 regular, 1 on your tank commander. You've got 2 Vanquishers and 3. Is that 3 Hellhounds then at that point? Because you had 2, right?
Yeah.
That's 7 tanks, 3 Chimeras, 2 Tauroxes, 50 infantry, Lord Solar. And a scout, and you've still got a Scout Sentinel. And so you've actually got more scouting in your list if you need it. If you don't need it, you've still got as many transports as you had. I think that's very spicy.
Yeah. Try them both out, actually.
There you go. Try them both out. You can do the slight tweak and just get the 1 extra Scout Sentinel, which might be enough, or you can do the big tweak and end up with an extra Hellhound.
See, my gut feeling is...
And Hellhounds are so good. So good.
But off that one game, and it was one game, and it was a very... I really liked the anti-infantry on the tank Rogue Dawn.
What was your Rogue Dawn's loadout?
So it was, because I'm definitely not Church of the Melter Gun, so I was running the
Simon Pan heavy bolters.
Heavy bolters, the the oppressor, and the pulverizer.
Do you not think about the Gatling cannon if you like anti-infantry, or do you think that's taking it too
Yeah,
far?
that strangely when I came out of it, that was the thing I was thinking. That was one thing I kind of, and it wasn't went in like that. It was just actually when I was playing the game, I was just like, actually, that is not an anti-tank platform. I've got plenty of anti-tank left. This is now an anti-infantry platform. And again, that might be matchup dependent, but I did like,
What about say something controversial, Simon?
yeah.
Twin battle cannon on the Dawn.
Well, again, that's the other, yeah. Well, that blast 10 shots -1, yeah.
I mean, you in your list, you've got enough hellhounds to keep that thing rocking and cocking. I feel like we're going to get a lot of pushback because the oppressor cannon just seems so obviously like the better option. And I've just been lambasting Cult of the AP boosters and AP -1 quite ruthlessly. But if we're saying the Rogel Dawn is an anti-infantry platform, what happens if we go all in on the anti-infantry? Stubbers, heavy bolters, castigated Gatling cannon, twin battle cannon.
I think the thing is, you know what? I think the thing is, if I'm honest, that what you're gaining twin linked, aren't you? That's it.
Yeah.
They're both, so you bait, but if you use it as anti-infantry, you're going to be wounding on 2s anyway. So you may be getting yourself one extra hit, one extra wound, and losing the ability to. I mean, that's why I quite like the plasma. Pardon
me.
Rust, because it can do either.
Yeah, it's got enough volume to go into a tank, enough volume, AP, and damage to go into a tank, and then when it goes to infantry, it just splats them.
Yeah, so that's how I mean, we're going. You know, we've gone back to what we were talking about last week. To be fair, but I think definitely hammer for Mac, because it gives you can. You know, because what is it? You need to be able to get around the board. You need to be able to kill infantry. You need to be able to kill tanks. That's essentially what a balanced list, you know, is going to be. And if the list itself is, it's got anti-infantry, it's got anti-tank. What it doesn't have is ways to get around the board, as well as it could do with terrain and stuff like that. Which is why I think hammer works. And you can reduce damage, and you can fall back and shoot, and you can do and also. And this is perhaps for me because I'm a prat. The stratagems are quite easy to play with. You know.
It's very like, I'm going to crash through. I'm going to advance and shoot. I'm probably going to pop smoke. Thank you very much. Maybe an Overwatch. What the other ones do? A fall back and shoot. Yeah, that's such a good one.
Or you can improve AP and stuff. So if you're playing 5 games in a weekend,
easy to remember. Just
for those of us that are working on a different level. You know, which the elite
those that are in the basement, not at the top floor.
The Johnny averages like me, actually, it's. I think that's when I played it, I was like, yeah, this is the first time. For a while for me playing God, I went, yeah, this is my.
It felt. It's something I've noticed with a lot of detachments. A lot of them, they don't seem to work with the player. They work against the player, and you really have to like trying to wrestle them into compliance.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel combined arms and hammer, they just play intuitively. Combined arms, I think, to an element of I've been doing it for 18 months. Hammer to an element of I think it's actually well designed.
See, we always end up talking about my mech list. We need to stop doing this.
Well, I was going to ask you a question. Hybrid guard or mech guard?
Oh, mech.
Okay, I know you've got personal preference, but which one do you think, not against each other, because rarely would they face each other, but against the meta, which one do you think's better, hybrid guard or mech guard?
If I'm honest, I'm not that up on the meta at the moment to kind of say.
Just into other factions, like if you had a hybrid guard army, you played into Marines. If you had a hybrid guard army, you played into Knights. If you had a hybrid guard army, you played into World Eaters. That kind of stuff. Like, just if you just think of the last few, even if there are a few, even if it's a few months out of date, it doesn't matter.
I think that they're two different challenges, because hybrid guard, you've got to get around the OC.
Yeah.
And that is a real uphill struggle when someone plots, on our new list new list following our discussion today with the 100 guard and go, there you go, there is potentially 150 OC
Yeah.
to go against. That I also, incidentally, I can do 100 and get the whole fucking thing on a 3-up save.
Yeah.
That is incredibly tough to play against. Flip side is someone plots like 15 tanks down and you go, I think it goes to show how poor my list was yesterday, potentially. But if someone plots 15 tanks down and I'm looking at my 2 Doomsday arcs, I'm going, well, I am never getting through that in a month of Sundays.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's different challenges. I don't know which way. If they face each other, I think it'd be really interesting because if my list faced your list, I think it would come down to who could kill the other ones. You'd be trying to kill my OC as quickly as possible, and I'd be trying to kill like basically Hellhounds as quickly as possible, because they're going to be just overwatching me constantly and burning the crap out of my infantry constantly. So in a funny sort of way, from both perspectives, the infantry would be the key.
Yeah,
I think it's what you say, because the OC factor, the infantry would be the key in both, from both perspectives. Me trying to protect it and you trying to wipe it out.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to go away and think about that, because my initial feeling says my first thing will be to go after your tanks to keep my tanks alive.
Maybe, yeah.
You would that, and actually, would that be one of those games where actually the first turn or two is me getting rid of your tanks, turn 3 is me getting rid of your infantry, and then trying to then catch up. That would be my initial thoughts on that game. I don't know how that would go after.
I suppose your Hellhounds would be naturally going after the infantry anyway, so you wouldn't be picking. You wouldn't be picking. Yeah, you'd be doing both. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was to be honest, I think in a straight matchup, I feel like your list would win.
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know.
I think you would be able to clear the guard infantry relatively quickly. I think your list would win. That's my instinct.
Maybe it's a few reports now.
Maybe.
We can take the very first one from the Codex when I'm not hamstrung by playing.
Yeah, it's kind of mad when you think about it. You said just a moment ago, you were like, well, how many vehicles are in your mech list? A lot.
5, 8, 9, 11, 12.
12.
5 Chimeras, Dawn, 3 Russes, 2 Hellhounds, and a Scent.
And you could get that up to 13, either with an extra Sentinel or an extra Hellhound. I think that's why I think mech is so strong right now, because people, whether it's mech in Combined Arms, or you take that exact same list and you put it into Hammer, either or, right?
Yeah.
I think that list is so strong right now because people have been moving away from vehicle-heavy armies. So there's this reason why Imperial Knights are doing really well at the moment. By the way, if you want to start going to tournaments, if you want to go to tournaments, you bring out the Stomping Circus. But yeah, I think the reason for it is because there's so many people that have been moving to elite infantry that the meta's kind of shifted away from having as much anti-tank. And then if someone places down that many vehicles against you, many of which are rocking enough anti-infantry to blot out the sun, our heavy bolter shells will blot out the sun, but we'll fight in the shade. No, you'll fight from the grave, I think you'll find. I think Met Guard is both meta for the guard, but very anti-meta in the big picture.
Yeah. But it's a nice place to be that actually we think there's 2 decent, viable builds.
Yes, yeah. I think it is a little bit ironic that Guard has had this brand new codex and 50% of the player base has gone all, including myself, has gone all around the houses and then has come back to Combined Arms.
You know what? You can run that list with, and I do think those tweaks we talked about improve. But you actually still could run that list in Siege or Recon and do well. It's just you can run that, maybe not as well as, I get that, but actually you can run that same list in 3 different detachments and it would work to an extent.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. We're going to be wrapping things up in a few minutes, but just 5 more minutes. I think something that we sort of touched upon at the beginning of the video, and then we started going down rabbit holes of like battle cannons on mech on Dawns, what's going on. But I think it's, to me, it's both a little, frustrating is the right word, but a little funny, and also very comforting to know that I can still run blobs of infantry and tanks, and actually it's viable.
I'm going to just going to throw this out here, but I've been saying blobs of 20 infantry have been good since the Codex came out.
Yeah,
I'm going to blow my own trumpet for a little bit.
No, blow away. I tell you what, Simon, you're becoming a bit of a savant at the moment, a salty savant, because you called big blobs, you called AP boosters, you called hammer, and you called mech, respectively. You called mech bad, hammer good, and you also were convinced that the Oricon blob was a false prophet, and you've been right. I think we're going to have to send the black ships for you, Simon. Need to feed you into the golden throne.
I think there's better players than me with Necron Awakened. I'm not a particularly great Necron player. I'm good with a couple of. I'm better with a couple of detachments, and not Awakened isn't one of them. So there are some very good Necron players getting a very good tune out of Awakened. So I personally would take the.
You're doubting yourself. You're doubting yourself. You have listen out, Sahib. Listen out, Sahib.
Yeah, there's some very good Necron players getting a tune out of that blob. I always think you go back to there's the guys that are up here that can play a list with like it's the Scarp or Scarpus, whatever, and then there's the mere mortals like us, and it's actually how am I going to get above average, and that's the very big difference.
I think you're just sad because you lost yesterday and you've come off your streak. I think.
I absolutely.
That was a one-off. I reckon if we did the same game again, and you ran your Star Shatter list that you're familiar with, because experience is very important. There's another big thing. We'll touch on this maybe next time, but I think experience plays a huge role. But I think if you had run our Shatter, I think that could have been a different game. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not saying you would necessarily have won. I'm not saying that I would have lost, but I'm saying that would have been a much more different game because you're not trying to play.
I missed the King yesterday.
Missed Silent King. I think I could sling bank shells into him all day and not touch the sides. I think he's too buku. He's too good in a good way. I think he just eats banks and regrows men ears like a motherfucker. Yeah. I think that's what happens. Final note. Let the salt come forth, Simon. Praise be to Creed and the Free CP bullshit.
Oh, don't get me started. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Actually, no, it's not. It's second only to the reinforcements. 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 So after that, it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
It's always combined arms, man. It's always combined arms that's coming for you, one way or another. I like to think that you, salty Gestalt Field, got reinforcements nerfed by pure force of will.
It should have been. It was ridiculous.
It's the best. It is where it is now. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, very quick summary, and then we'll wrap up. And chat confirmed that this did work yesterday in the stream, so I'm not just not a classic Mordy bullshit moment. We've had it independently verified by a panel of experts. If you use Creed's ability to reduce the cost of a stratagem, and then use that stratagem. So it goes from 1 CP down to 0 CP cost. If you then use that stratagem on a unit with Voxcasters, then due to the wording of Voxcasters, you can still attempt to farm a CP from the Voxcasters. Because it doesn't say refund the CP, it says you gain a CP on Voxcasters. So what I was doing every single turn, and it was amazing, is I was using the inspired command stratagem to flip one of my units from like move or take aim into take cover. Because I can do that whether I need take cover or not. That's a stratagem I can always do in my opponent's command phase, and it was quite useful because it was giving me a bit of a durability boost. So I use a stratagem in Simon's command phase, the 0 CP, on Creed's unit, who's Creed's in a big blob of guardsmen with 2 Voxcasters, and then I just need to pass one of 2 4-up saves because you get to roll for each Voxcaster, and if I not 4-up roll, and if I get one of those 4-ups, I gain a CP. So it costs me 0 CP, and as long as I pass one of 2 4-ups, I gain a CP. So I get to do an order for the low cost of 3, and I get to gain a CP for that. I did that every single turn, and it was like Budget Lord Solar. And it was very, very good.
Yeah. And on that note, we will wrap things up. Simon, as always, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your insights. Thank you for your wisdom. The wisdom of the ocean. That's what it is. That's one word. It's not one I'd use.
Oh, Simon of the Sea, share with us your wisdom. And I want to say a huge thank you to all of you guys that watched today's video. Let us know what you think down in the comment section below. Are you still a follower of the false religion, the cult of the AP boosters? Do you believe in combined arms, or do you think that Hammer the Emperor is the way to go? And have you been finding that going back to the old ways is best? Classic Mech Guard, classic Hybrid Guard? Or are there new methods of warfare that you think that Simon and I should be aware of, that we should try out and try and battle report? And is there any other topics you want us to cover? Anything's going on with 40k? Any other armies you want us to try out? Or, dare I say it, some bolt action content? Or Old World even? Who knows? Who knows? Mad, stranger things have happened at sea. Hey, just keep getting all the sea references in. He's gonna get sick of them soon.
It's like your dice rolls, to be honest.
I would say don't hate the player, hate the game, but I think in that case, hating the player is totally okay. And on that note, gentlemen, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you guys next time. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier patrons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Bon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.